Happy Thursday, America, live from the Area 51 studios here. What's up, guys? Looks
How's
like
it going?
John's on special assignment.
I am really surprised
we
that
lost your sound.
You're good. I can hear you, John.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I was gonna say I am really surprised that you can't hear all that in the background because I can hear it through my earphones very loudly. So, but I am at the Oklahoma Tackle Hunting and Boat Show in Grove, Oklahoma, in the brand new Wolf Creek Park Expo Center. First event they've ever had in this place. It is, I'm not sure how big it is, like 60,000 square feet or something like that. I don't know. You probably know, Kyle, how big it is. I don't know. But it's big and it is full of vendors and boats, and I'm here in the Old Timer Lures booth. Buddies of mine, the guy that built the original Lake Lodge at Kentucky Lake, this is his booth, and so they let me have a little table here, and we're having a good time.
Getting a little PR action in, are you?
Yeah.
Sweet.
That's what I'm doing.
Have you bought any fishing tackle yet?
Yes. I bought before the doors even opened.
That's what I'm talking about, Jack.
I bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 1 minuses
Outstanding.
in the Gray Ghost.
Outstanding. Ouch. That hurts a little bit, but hey.
Only one big one, though. Most of them are baby. The mid ones. The mid 1 minuses, but one big one.
Cool.
So yeah. Oh, and I bought 6 packs of Cincos, green pumpkin, $4 a bag.
There we go.
That's what I'm doing.
You know, normally just before the guests leave, we do this thing where we make them promise the next event they win, they got to come back.
Yeah.
We've never had one happen that quickly.
I know.
Last Thursday, we had Drew Gill on the show, and Sunday, he won the Derby.
Yeah.
So
let me show you the text. You can see it. I don't know if the text says that I sent him.
I can't. Oh yeah, okay.
Says congrats. It's most likely your talent, but just maybe the Idle Zone Syndicate podcast luck is real.
I believe.
LOL. Congrats, dude. Let us know when you want to come back on. He responded. I really appreciate it.
There we go. Awesome. Very cool. Well, Kyle, who do we have tonight?
Well, we got one of the younger guys that's competing on the pro level right at the moment. It says he's originally from the West Coast, which is kind of cool. I'd like to hear about that.
Duck. He's a duck.
Yeah. He calls Alabama his home currently. He just told us that He just has a newborn at the house, which is outstanding. He got second place in Ultimate Angler Championship not too long ago, last fall. And if I'm not mistaken, he just got second place in the BPT. Is that correct? In Gunnersville?
We'll find out.
No.
Is
Jacob
that-
Walker.
Oh, sorry.
That's our next week's guest.
Wrong, Jacob.
I'm getting them confused. Anyhow, let's bring him on. Jacob Wall.
Yeah.
And his boat is colors matching. And a guy like me that has so much OCD in him, the white boat wrap, the white trolling motor, the white bracket, I'm digging it. I like it.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I started the white trend like, I don't know how many years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, and maybe longer, maybe, I don't know. How long have I been doing this? I think this is my 8th year. So maybe 6 years ago I started that. And I just kind of am going more and more full in on that, just try to, stand out. I don't know. A lot of these guys, they've got a gray or a black wrap, to blend in, to hide, on the water. I was like, man, I want to be the opposite. I want people to go, oh, there's Jacob Wall driving down the lake,
White power poles, white trolling motor bracket, white. I like it. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
The customization's cool in my opinion. I'm kind of the same way. Being colorblind, I still like colors, and I don't like a whole bunch of drabbiness, because the drabbiness colors to me look ugly anyhow. So
yeah, no, I agree. No, I did not finish second this last tournament, Bass Pro Tour, but I did finish second a few years ago in the Bass Pro Tour to Jacob Wheeler, when he kind of showed everybody in the world the jig head minnow. I finished second in that event, the Bass Pro Tour. That was my first year on the Bass Pro Tour. That was the one year that they did 5 fish instead of every fish. I finished second in that event. And then I've had this last season, I had a 3rd place at Lake Conroe. I had a 4th place at Kentucky Lake, and a 7th place at Harris Chain. So I had 3 top 10s this last year in the Bass Pro Tour. And then I finished second in that Ultimate Angler tournament, which was a big one for me. That one helped a lot with the new baby coming, for sure.
Yeah, I was scrolling through some of your past career finishes earlier today, and I noticed that they're not all on the same bodies of water. And looks like you fished the BFLs, the Toyotas, a little bit of everything. It's kind of cool to see how well versed you are, really.
Yeah, I think some of that comes from living on the West Coast, growing up. I grew up in Southern Oregon. That's where my roots are. I spent a lot of time bass fishing around locally in Southern Oregon, which there's really not a lot. We've got a lot of smaller lakes and ponds. And with the pond fishing, you've got certain ponds that'll have grass in them. Other ones don't have any. There's ones that'll have bush lines. So I learned how to skip pretty well. Some of our lakes on the coast, on the Oregon coast, are natural lakes. You've got a lot of lily pads in the summertime, docks, laydowns, all your stuff that you get with like a natural body of water. And they're different than, I don't know, they're just very unique fisheries all the way around. And then right around where I grew up, a lot of drawdown reservoirs, which draw down like crazy. I mean, some of the lakes, like Lake Shasta, which wasn't far from where I grew up, that lake will draw down, 100+ feet, one way or the other. So you'll be catching them on stuff one year that's high and dry. The next year, you could see it like way, way up on the bank, where you were catching them. And so I grew up fishing a lot of different types of bodies of water. And I think that that's probably, an attribute to why I've done so well in numerous different places.
Yeah. And most recently, I guess your best finish was Gunnersville in the Ultimate Angler Challenge.
Yeah, that was my most recent success. Obviously, this last Bass Pro Tour, I still had a good event. I was inside the cut, made the knockout round. I was fishing really, really strong the first 2 days. I was catching like 40+ pounds a period during the first period every day. And then the third day, they put a camera in my boat. I was expecting to go out and smash them. And I pulled up to a bunch of these places, or really just this one place I had been catching them. But I had a number of other places in my back of my pocket that I thought I could go and hit, kind of mix in. And gosh, the fish, I don't know what happened to the fish I was targeting, but they went into a super negative mood. And I ended up finishing like, I don't know, 22nd in the event, missed the championship cut, but still, I mean, making a, knockout round against that field is still strong.
Super respectful finish. I mean, guys were absolutely smashing them the first couple hours of the day, and
oh yeah,
looked like and I've watched some guys' opinions on that, and even Kevin Van Dam in his YouTube video that he posted yesterday or today or something that talked about extreme cold weather and how you guys in the Elite Series you guys just went through some of the nastiest conditions that hit Lake Guntersville in the season,
yeah.
How much success in practice did you have prior to the tournament?
Yeah. So you mean just in our like 2 days that we get?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like great by any means. I mean, my shallow bite was very, hit and miss. Like I'd catch a few fish, in one place. I'd go and catch like, one or two in a stretch on a shot, lipless or chatterbait. And, the fish that were hitting my lipless were getting it really deep, so I could tell they were eating the bait pretty well, which was a good sign. I found one place shallow that I felt like I could get numerous bites on. And the only issue with it was a lot of those fish were like 2 to 2.5 pounds. They weren't good quality. They were just, right at scorables. But then as far as forward facing goes, I found that one zone, this lake has been getting so much pressure over the last however many years that the minnow has, I don't know, what has it been, 3 or 4 years now, that the minnow has been just dominating across the country. This lake, these fish have seen that just time and time again. And so they've gotten so conditioned to it that they're so smart. I mean, I've got places on this lake that, I can go to and know I'm around them, but making them bite is like a whole nother story. And, when I first started throwing the minnow, when it first became, popular, gosh, I could go out and smash them. You pull up to these places and you catch them really good. You'd pull up to a stump, you'd catch one and you'd leave for 30 minutes. You'd come back to the stump, you'd catch another one, maybe two. Now it's like you throw at that stump and you might not catch a fish. Every time you come, you could fish it 5 or 6 different times. And there's fish there that are probably not the same fish, numerous different trips, and you can't catch a fish off of it. So anyway, I fished a lot of stuff in the past that I had caught fish on to no success, really. A couple fish here, a couple fish there, just like really scattered, really random. And then I finally pulled up to this one bluff that I've caught them on in the past this time of the year, but never really that good. And there's a bunch of birds out in front of it. It's kind of a channel swing where this creek channel swings up into this bluff. And there's a ton of bait stacked in this channel swing with these birds. And I started fishing down the bluff, like up tight to the bank, fishing fish off the bottom with the minnow. And I caught one pretty quick. And then I threw out there with a jerk bait and caught another one on the minnow. And I panned out and saw some fish floating. And the first one I threw at it ate it. It was like a 3-pounder. Went to the next fish that I saw, threw at it, it ate it. And so I started seeing really positive response out of the fish in this one zone. So I was like, all right, well, that's what I'm going to go off of. I mean, this place here, these fish seem to be biting. And that first day of the tournament, DC and I launched at the same ramp there, Seabold boat ramp on Guntersville. And we were talking to each other in the morning. He did a little, intro for his YouTube video that he does, talking to me. And he goes out a little ahead of me because we blast off. We have a time, they give us it's like certain amount of seconds later. So like if he's boat number, let's say 4 and I'm boat 34, he's going to go out at whatever it is, 3 o'clock and 1 minute and 15 seconds. I'm going to, go out at, what, and not 3 o'clock, obviously, but 7 o'clock, and you know what I mean? Like you go down by seconds. And so I may have taken off like 2 minutes after him or 1 minute and 45 seconds, whatever it was.
I didn't know you guys did that. That's interesting.
Yeah. So that's how our numbers work. And I guess nobody really has talked about that I've been aware of. So anyway, we that's how we go out. So like if we get to a boat ramp and it's before our ride around time, like if we've got like, let's say a, trailer launch, if our ramp is only 10 minutes away from where we are allowed to, we're allowed to drive for however much time they give us, a certain amount of time. It's usually like 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how far away some of the ramps can be on these fisheries. And my ramp was close. And so I drove to the ramp. He went out a little bit ahead of me. And then I went out, and we ended up pulling up on the same place. He's kind of up here. I'm down here. We start, and then, we're fishing along. And then all of a sudden, here comes Wheeler. So it's Connell, me in the middle, and Wheeler all down this bluff. And I'm looking around thinking, okay, well, I probably picked a pretty good place to start.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a couple more questions, and I'll let somebody else chime in. So, just out of curiosity, if let's just say hypothetically, if you could throw the Alabama rig, and you had the choice between the two, the A rig or the minnow,
Sure.
which one is it?
Well, it depends.
Or
I mean,
let's say you're fun fishing,
well, it really depends. I mean, if they're, I mean, I hate to give you that answer, but if they're fish that are floating around suspended, I would pick a minnow all day. I feel like personally that minnow is just going to trick those fish a little bit more. They seem to be, not always, but those fish seem to be, a little bit more keyed in. It's like you throw this littler bait at them and they kind of get curious and get up behind it. But if they're fish down on the bottom, and they're kind of grouped up, oh, that A-rig is deadly. You reel that A-rig over their head, they see that ball coming, and then they all start rising on it. Yeah, no, I'd throw that A-rig if they're down near the bottom. But if I'm targeting suspended fish, I would throw that minnow.
Cool. And so, and then, another comment. So how many guys is living on Gunnersville now? How many pros is there? I mean, you guys put some sort of easy peel and stick duct tape on your wraps during the week so you can get out there and just play around, or how's that work?
No, I just go fish. I mean, I'm not too worried about it because this lake is ever changing. You can give away certain places to people. They may see you catch them there, but a lot of the times it's super nuanced. It comes down to reeling it at the right speed, hopping it the certain way. It's, the fish may be there one day biting, and then the very 2 or 3 days later, they're not even there anymore. They've moved a little bit. So I'm not too worried about that. But the other part of your question, I have no idea. There's a lot. You've got Justin Lucas, you've got Chris Lane, you've got myself, you've got Gerald Swindle, you've got Randy Howell, you've got Andrew Loberg, Alex Davis.
Some of the older guys that were in the elites that aren't any longer in the elites still live down there, right? As far as I know.
Yeah. Honestly, there's people that I probably don't really even know that are, ex pros that live down here, I'm sure. But there's so many professional guys that call this lake their, quote unquote home lake. And they may not even live right around the lake, but this is their, their home lake, I guess, within an hour or something. Because I know Jacob Walker he's pretty close too. He's I don't know if he lives on the lake. I'm not exactly sure where he lives, but he's close. He's very close.
Uh-huh.
So let's talk about what we just got to take a look at there, was that big old fat fake check.
Yeah.
It was outstanding. And something kind of cool that I want to point out is that Ultimate Angler Championship was no forward-facing sonar, right? It was just traditional sonar, 2D side imaging. You could use the 360 live, right?
No.
Okay, so it's just traditional 2D, and you did extremely well. You beat some serious hammers. So did you do anything different practicing, prepping for that tournament, or just literally just put the lockbox on like you were supposed to and go fishing?
Yeah, so no, I actually did have a little bit different approach to that event. We had a cutoff. I want to say, gosh, I can't remember exactly. I want to say it was a week. Maybe it was, I'm not exactly sure, but it was not as long of a cutoff for not being able to fish. So I fished a bunch up before that cutoff time. And for that whole time before it, our season had already ended pretty much for everything. I mean, we had some team series tournaments for the, Bass Pro Tour stuff going on. that I fished with Bobby Lane. But besides that, I mean, I was pretty much home. So when I went fishing, it was to prep for this tournament, because it was, I mean, a lot of money on the line, half a $500,000 for first. And so, and I knew it paid down really well. So I was like, man, if I could just top 10, it's a big paycheck, just kind of a bonus at the end of the year. So every time I went out, what I did was I actually left it on, but I have a HTS 16 Lowrance at the top of my, double bracket on the front. And I had it covered, I kept the cover on. I didn't even put anything on it. I just left it turned off and I kept the cover on it. And all I did was turn on a map, and so when I stood up front, that's all I had. I didn't even have 2D. I was like, forget it. If we're going to be fishing without forward, I'm not going to fish with anything up here. I'm just going to fish old school. I don't need this stuff to fish the grass. So I'm just going to fish off instinct. And I basically spent every day that I went up the river. Recently we had moved to the Scottsboro area from down more on the lower end of the lake, closer to Huntsville is where we kind of lived before. And I would go out and I would just start flipping. I'd pick up a big 1.5 weight, 1.25 weight, and I would just start flipping through the mats. That fish right there was actually big fish of the whole tournament.
That's a toad.
I caught that fish punching on the third day.
Look how beautiful that thing is too.
That was the 5th fish I caught that day. It was a 7-pound, 6-ounce fish. I boat flipped that fish. And that was the only other bite I had that whole day that I caught. And so I had 5 keeper bites that I put in the boat that day. And I weighed like 23 something pounds. That fish won me $10,000 too, because that was big fish of the day. But anyway, basically what I was doing was I was targeting the grass lines, just where you'd have hard grass lines. I mean, your typical stuff on Guntersville, hydrilla, mats, and just punching and frogging. And that was my focus. A couple of days I would go out and do some other stuff, maybe throw like a vibrating jig, jerkbait, whatever, for schooling fish, that kind of stuff. But primarily wanted to find those areas in that matted vegetation. All that time I put in actually paid off for the tournament. There was this one little spot that I had caught numerous fish between 4 and 6 pounds punching, like before practice for the tournament even started. And I had it on my radar. I was like, all right, well, I know that I had been catching good ones in this little area. I'm just not even going to practice it, like for the actual practice. I was like, I'm not even going to go there. Well, come that first day of the tournament, I was sitting on like 3, I think, smaller fish. And I was like, all right, screw it. I had an area down the lake that I was catching some schooling fish that I found in practice. I thought I could catch 15 to 17 pounds. Didn't work. The fish weren't there. It was super inactive. So I ran up the lake, go to this point where I had found this area. I just kind of gave it away. It's a point of grass. And it's not really contour line point, just a point of, vegetation. And I pull up there and my first bite I get, it's like a 5.5, 5 3/4 pounder. Put that fish in the box. I work a little ways around this point. I catch another good one, 3.5, 3 3/4. And once I caught those 2 fish, I was like, this is all I'm going to do. I don't really care about finishing 20th, 30th, 40th, point. It doesn't matter. I was like, if this is how I'm going to get a big bite, this is all I'm going to do the rest of this tournament. And so I just locked a big weight and a frog in my hand, and I ended up weighing 13 fish punching and 2 fish on a frog. And all of those fish came up that river between Goose Pond and the, BB Comer Bridge in that historic stretch of the lake.
Very cool bridge too. I drove over it a couple times and it looked like Bass Haven up there. I never made it up that far when I was on Guntersville, but really cool looking stretch of lake.
It's gorgeous. It's the shallower, flatter kind of areas. You got those river bars, which go up and down the right and the left side of the river. And you've got back channel is what we call it, where it gets a little deeper. You got maybe some smaller feeder creeks and stuff in that back channel, which is that deeper, little bit deeper section. And I primarily focused on flipping that back channel, not the main river edge, but back around the outside edge. And it's just really, it was a mental thing. I mean, it was not easy to get bit. I was flipping a weight through the mat, who knows how many times the percentage was terrible. I mean, if you looked at the amount of times that I flipped for the amount of bites I took, I mean, it's horrible. I mean, it was probably like, it's way less than 1%, way less. It's probably like point something of a percent, 0.1, maybe 0.0, it's horrible.
Yeah, and you feel like whenever I'm flipping that, you feel like a human pitching machine,
Yes.
But you just gotta tell yourself to stay dialed in and focus. And I haven't done a ton of grass punching, but I can only imagine if the first good fish that you would miss would be pretty upsetting after 1,500 flips and nothing. So,
yeah, and it's usually real easy to miss them too, which is the hard part. Usually they eat it, quick, and if you don't get them, you don't react. It's like they're spitting it out, So it's you've got to be on top of it. You've got to be focused, like you said, nonstop for just about every flip you make.
Well, Jacob, I appreciate you coming on the show. I'm going to hand it over to somebody else that wants to chime in.
Yeah, no problem.
Jacob.
Yeah, John.
So I think we met Clear Lake, maybe?
That sounds right. Yeah.
When you were in college, and I don't remember what kind of boat it was, but it was an older boat, I think.
It was a nitro. It was a DC 2000, I think was what it was. It was like a 1994 nitro.
Yeah.
I think I had a 225 on it with no power poles, old electronics. And it was like a dark green color with a gold end down the side of it.
Yep. Yeah. It was beautiful. A beautiful boat.
It was beautiful for me.
It was. It was. So when I meet different people around the country, I ran across people that you just had a feeling like with you, I had a feeling that just the pure, I want this, or true grit, wanting this, that you were going to go far. I just got that feeling, Back then, I didn't really especially think that you were like a superstar talented, you had a lot to learn, whatever. But there are certain people that they just have the grit or the want to. And you were one of those guys, I thought. Like Hank and I always used to talk about. Jacob Wall, I think he's going to go places. And so tell us about how you got to start fishing in college and then how you decided to move where you moved and the McDonald's story, how the folks I think they were maybe friends of yours that ran a McDonald's, helped you out. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. So first off, thank you. That means a lot that you saw that in me at that age, because that was, I've always dreamed of doing what I'm doing at this point. Living out on the West Coast, especially in Southern Oregon, it's not an area that's known for bass. And I didn't even know what it really looked like, the road at all. Like I didn't know what it even took to qualify at the time. It wasn't something that was really on my radar. I just knew that I loved fishing, and I knew that I loved the competition side of tournament bass fishing. And yeah, I fished for the University of Oregon in college. Graduated in 2017. I fished from 2013 to 2017. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that I was the first, if not one of the first guys to win as an individual at the regional level for college. I won as a solo down on Lake Mead and got to hold up two big trophies, one in either hand. One was supposed to be for the other guy, and I fished alone, so I got to hold both. And that was a pretty special moment for me. Even to this day, that tournament was really, really cool. It wasn't a huge field or anything, but the guys on the West were definitely fishermen. They knew what they were doing. They're good. I mean, they're up to speed with a lot of the, new age stuff. And so it felt good to win that. But that's when we first met, I think. And, followed my dream and just kept going along the path to get here. And qualified the first year that I fished the Costa Series, which is now the Toyota Series, through FLW, now MLF. And I qualified, finishing 8th in the points. That year they took the top 10. And it was actually one of the largest field sizes we had on the West Coast for a long time. I think it was like 160 guys that competed in the first event on Havasu or somewhere in that range. It was a large field, so pretty stiff competition, and qualified in 8th. Decided, we were going to come out and I was going to fish the championship on Guntersville that year. I think it was in 2018. That was the championship for the Costa Series here on Guntersville. And I fished it. I did decent. I cut a check. I think I finished somewhere in the 30s in the championship. And when I was out here, my dad and I actually drove that nitro across country to fish that tournament. We traveled from Oregon all the way to Alabama, 3 days worth of travel, 36, 37 hours, something like that. And when we got here, it was like, okay, I'm going to compete in the tournament. And then when it was over, it was like, I had known I had gotten that invitation to fish the, FLW tour. So it was like, my parents have always been big supporters of mine. They've always wanted to see me do what I love to do. And fortunately, I have had their support, at the beginning of my career, or else I would not be here at this point. And my dad and I, we stayed in the area and we looked for a place to possibly rent in this area, because financially living out on the West, traveling was just not in the cards for me. And so for myself, it was much more, doable to live here, home base it, more central location on a good lake that I could learn on, and then travel from here. So we ended up finding this little house in New Hope, Alabama. Yeah, that's my dad from the other day. And we found this little house in New Hope, Alabama, which is where we had lived up until this last August. And we rented that house, and we ended up, my wife and I, now wife, at the time she was my girlfriend, we had been dating for like a year, and her name's Michaela. I go back, I tell Michaela, I go, hey, we found this place, I think I'd already asked her before, maybe, I don't remember exactly. I just remember asking her, I go, hey, how would you feel about moving to Alabama? She has no family out here, knows nobody. And luckily, she works for Dick, worked for Dick's Sporting Goods. And so it was like, okay, she could transfer her job. So that wasn't a big issue. So the job thing wasn't a huge issue. She would at least have somewhere to work when she got here. She was pretty adventurous. She was like, sure, let's do it. And I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. So within I want to say we fished that championship event in October of 18. And I want to say by December, we had packed everything in a trailer and towed a trailer out. My dad and I left the nitro. We literally drove back across the country, left the nitro at Duckett Marine in their parking lot, and drove just the truck back. And so we left the boat, drove back, packed up a trailer in November, or like towards the end of November, moved all of our stuff out here to that, place that we rented, that little house. And I think it was like early January on Rayburn was my first tournament for the FLW tour. And so all of that happened within like a 2.5, 3 month span. Well, less really. I mean, the time frame from me moving to starting the tour was like a month or less. And in that time frame, I had to buy a boat. We ended up going to Duckett Marine, and I bought a Triton off the floor. I was like, yeah, I'll take that boat right there. And so we ended up doing that. And, the rest is history. It's just been, progressively getting bigger and better every year, growing my brand, growing my, social media, growing my support and my sponsorship. And it's been a heck of a journey. It feels like it's been about 8 years, I guess, but not really at the same time. It's kind of a blur, but it's been a lot of fun. I mean, I'm doing what I love to do. I haven't felt like I've worked a real, I haven't worked a real job since we moved, and it's just been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed this, career path, and, been fortunate to align with some really good people. And yeah, no, it's been super cool, super humbling and fun experience. And I'm excited to see where the rest of my career goes.
I think it. I don't think there's any limit to where your career can go.
Yeah.
I think you're. You know, you're still young. You're still learning. You do have a baby now, which
Yeah.
is, that's that changes things a little bit. It changes how you uh, view practice and all kinds of that. It may not now since it's only 2 weeks old, but
Yeah.
I think it will. We've talked to many anglers that talk about the young kids, and some of the reason why they're as good as they are is because they spend so much time on the water
Sure.
and learning, and as you get older and as you have kids and you have more responsibilities, you get more sponsors and sponsor obligations, your time on the water goes down,
Sure.
so I'm not trying to scare you or anything, but
No, you're shooting me straight. I get
yeah,
it.
yeah. So, have you thought about that? Have you thought about, how I don't know how you practiced before or how you approached your seasons before, but have you already thought about that? Had discussions with your wife? Like, are things going to change?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. My career though, I've never really taken on like a ton of events in a season. You had mentioned that I had fished BFLs, Toyotas, a variety of different things. I have, but I've never really packed in. Like may have had one season where I fished quite a few different events. I fished a full Central Division of Toyota Series, but some of these guys were fishing like multiple different divisions, like
Mm-hmm.
the whole division. They were fishing, I mean, so many events. So for myself, I've always focused just more on like the big deal that I'm doing, which now is the BPT, was like the FLW tour. I did the pro circuit for a while. When I did those things, it was like those were my focus. I fished those 7 events and the championship, and obviously did some local stuff in between. My fishing, like fun fishing, I have noticed over the last year has slowed down just a little bit. I don't think it's really keeping me off my game. In fact, maybe it's to some extent maybe helped a little bit, because when you get out there, I think a ton you get, at least for me, I think everybody's a little different, but I think for me, like I try to replicate what I've been doing, you know what I mean? Instead of just going out there and just using the information that I have and what I've gathered and everything that I know to just look at a body of water and just go, okay, what makes sense seasonally? What makes sense, time of the year, temperature, wind, sun conditions, water clarity, just looking at all those things and making a decision. A lot of the times when I'm out there a ton, it's like, oh, I've been smashing them on a jerk bait, in this depth, targeting this stuff. Like water clarity looks the same here as it did elsewhere. I got to try that, instead of just going out there, having a lineup of rods and going, okay, let's go fishing, and just kind of fishing more in the moment. You don't really have that, like that, at least for me, I don't really have that thing in the back of my mind going, well, you've been catching them doing this, you got to go try that, even though it's a different body of water. I mean, somehow it's like you got this little voice, at least I do, in the back of my head telling me, go try that again. If it worked here, maybe it'll work there. So that may, help me a little bit. I mean, I don't know. I mean, my wife and I have a really good working relationship, so I don't think that she's going to prevent me from going out fishing, even though we've got a baby. She's still going to want me to get out there and go. Obviously, it's going to slow down a little bit, but one nice part about where we live now is I'm 5 minutes from a boat ramp right here at the BB Comer Bridge. I can drive down the road, launch the boat, go drive up the river and go fish for some smallmouth. I can drive down the lake and go fish for largemouth. I can fish the river. I can fish, there's a bunch of variety right around real close to the house. So if I need to go out there and try some stuff, mess around with some stuff, I can do it super close to the house. Don't have to go real far. Can go out for a couple hours and then come home. No, I mean, I'm not real concerned about that. I've always been pretty just, I don't know. I mean, I'm just kind of go with the flow. I don't really let things affect the way that I fish. It's like I'm excited to get to Murray. I can not Murray, Hartwell. I can tell you that. I'm looking forward to getting a full night's rest. I hate that I'm leaving her by herself here, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, I'm kind of looking forward to it.
So do you still not have any family around? Has anybody moved? And so it's just the two of you or the three of you now?
Yeah, so it's just my wife, our daughter, and me now. So I mean, that's all we've got out here right now. My parents come and visit from time to time, and her parents do too. But we've got some really good friends that we've met that aren't too far away from us here, and if we ever needed help with anything, they're more than happy to help. But no, as far as family goes out here, it's just the three of us.
Yeah, I totally understand. When I took the job at Bass, I moved to Alabama, and then my wife and daughter came to Florida when my daughter was in high school. Don't ever life advice. Life advice. When your daughter gets to be junior high age, don't move across the country away from all her friends.
Yeah, that probably didn't go too well.
Did not go too well. I believe she just this year forgave me,
Oh
which
God.
which yeah, like she's 32.
Oh,
So I mean, she's spoken with me that whole time, but she was pissed off until just this year, I think. So don't do that. I will tell you, don't do that. Uh, she was fine, but she was strong, but she went to high school in Florida and had to leave all her friends that she grew up with. We were in the same town in Webb City from the time she was a baby till junior high. So
yeah,
that
that's
probably
a
wasn't
tough
the
time.
wisest. Yeah.
That's a tough time to move. That's like
Yeah.
if you did it when
But
she was a little younger, it might not have been as bad.
right. The point of that was it's good to have a good wife, a good support system like I had that uh followed me. She followed me a little bit of different role in the fishing industry, but she followed me to Florida and Alabama and was, you know, a trooper, and it sounds like you got that same thing. So that's a huge plus for you.
Definitely. Yeah, no, she's been great. My wife traveled with me all year last year, and we want to keep doing that. That's kind of our plan, is her traveling with. And, I want to raise my daughter on the boat as much as I can once she gets big enough, so that's the plan.
Yeah.
And, right now at the very beginning of the baby stages, we both, her and I, and my wife and I, we both think that it's smart for me just to go to the first, few events once we've got this little one by myself. That way my sleep schedule and routine is very much what it has been. And I'm not completely making a huge adjustment as far as that goes. Obviously I'll miss out on her growing a little bit, but I need to focus on my career here. I need to make sure that I'm prioritizing, having a good season. And, obviously, we've got plenty of time with her. So I'm going to make sure we get in a good routine before we start bringing her with.
Yeah. And it's a little different nowadays from when Danny and I were raising kids. You got this thing right here that you can actually talk to them live on via picture, not just talking to.
Yeah.
Like they can see you. So that, that FaceTime is awesome. You can tell her a bedtime story before you go to bed, whatever, and it's almost like you're right there.
Definitely. No, we're gonna figure out what makes the most sense, and this first one for sure, Hartwell, I'm gonna go to on my own, and then I think the Waco one I may do that as well. But after that, we haven't really decided what we're gonna do yet. They may start traveling with.
So what kind of goals do you have? Do you have goals? Do you want to win Red Crest? Do you want to win AOI? Which of those would you like to do first? What's
I mean, my goals have always been I'm a very modest, very simple person. I don't really like, yeah, I strive to win. I strive to, every year that I go out, it's like I want to try to top 10 every single, at least maybe not every year, but as of the past like 3 or 4 years, it's like I want to top 10 every event. That's my goal, is a top 10 everything. Um, ideally, if you do that, you're going to give yourself a chance for AOI. AOI to me means more than winning a tournament. I think winning a tournament's cool. You get a big check, you get a trophy. I definitely want to fish for one of those trophies. I mean, I care more about having one of those trophies than I do that check, to be completely honest with you. I mean, the check's nice, but I want one of those big trophies. I want to be able to have that big piece of memorabilia to put in my house to remember, the success that I've had in my career. But yeah, I mean, Angler of the Years is something I'd love to accomplish. Amongst the field that I fish, it's very, very, very hard to do. I probably, for this season, I've already shot myself in the foot as far as that goes with a 20-second. That's probably already out the window. Whoever wins AOI is probably going to top 10 everything this year. Maybe not. I mean, maybe I still have a chance, but winning a tournament would be great. That's kind of the goal. But really what I was getting at was, every year I go out and do this, my goal is just to be able to sustain and do this more and continue to do this. I want to be able to just call this my job for as long as I can. I want to be my career path for as long as I possibly can. So as far as like big goals, my big goal is to just continue to have this as my job, because it's awesome. I love it. And I love not having to wake up and go to a 9 to 5 and work for somebody else. I love to be able to, I'm my own boss. And so if I can wake up and that's what I get to do, then I'm freaking happy. So, yeah, I mean, that's my goal, is just be able to continue to do this, be able to make my sponsors happy, be able to continue to cut checks, be competitive. All those things are my goals. Ultimately, winning and getting AOI are big deals too. But I don't really put those like super high on my pedestal. Like I just want to be a good representative and be able to continue to do this.
That's an awesome answer. I think
If I was in his shoes, I'd have said the same thing.
absolutely. It's so many. I think that's a good approach, especially at the younger. You're still young. You're still a kid.
I'm 31, so I mean,
you're
I'm
younger than my daughter. So
yeah, I am. I'm a year younger than your daughter.
yeah. So that's a great. I think as you get older, and you've been doing it for 20 years, and if you haven't won an AOI or a Red Crest yet,
sure,
that drive will probably get even more.
Sure.
Whatever. But I don't think it'll take 20 years. I think you'll probably win something like that before then.
I've had some close calls. I mean, I've gotten second a number of times, and
Yeah.
this last year on Conroe for stage 1, I was 5 pounds from winning that tournament. So I mean, it was right there. Like I had made this decision to go throw this swim bait up by this dock, just like intuitively had this weird, like, thought I should go try that. This should work. It's sunny out, it's warm out. There should be fish sliding up under that dock over there. I haven't fished it all week. Let's go throw at it. Catch a 5-pounder, catch another good one. Then I go down and catch another good one on a chatterbait. And I'm like, I think I was maybe in the lead at that point with like 30 minutes left in the day on the final day. And I ended up not catching another fish, and I got jumped, and then another guy jumped, but I ended up in third, but I was only like 5 pounds. I mean, it was just like, I kept telling myself like, okay, like let's run with this. Let's go to this dock. We'll do this. It was like just making things happen, trying to produce that last big bite to clinch that win. But I mean, I felt it a few times. I agree. I think it's somewhere close.
Yep. I'm going to ask one more question, and then I'm going to let Danny kind of close us out, I think.
Sounds good.
So is there a technique that you do not like to do? Like if you had your choice, if if there was if let's say if they weren't eating a minnow, and all they were doing was, eating a jig, is there something like that that you're like, oh my man, I know I got to do this, but I don't want to all day?
Um, Gosh, my answers are way too open ended. No, I don't really have one that I don't like. I used to hate a Carolina rig. That used to be like, I did not throw a Carolina rig. I hated it. And I remember I had the same question was asked, and they wrote, I want to say it was on like Bass Fan or something. They have on there what least favorite technique, and it was Carolina rig. And I ended up taking a Carolina rig and finishing third on the St. Lawrence River in the title championship, and made like 30 grand or something on a Carolina rig. And I was like, you know what? I should stop hating a Carolina rig if I just won 30 grand on this dang thing.
Yeah.
And so since then, I've implemented that technique so many times and done so well on it. I've made more money elsewhere throwing a Carolina rig and caught so many bass on it. This last summer on Gunnersville, I probably shouldn't be saying this because it's probably going to be the same this summer, but they were smashing a Carolina rig. I mean, we'd go out there on these places where everybody's staring at them on a screen, and we'd hit anchor lock, on the power pole move. We'd sit there and we'd stand on the whatever side of the boat you needed to stand on, however it would turn with the wind. You just chuck the Carolina rig out there and just talk to your buddy and just tick, 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 drag the bottom and just wait for it to go thunk, reel down. And I mean, we were catching so many on that dang Carolina rig. So I used to hate that thing, but now I kind of enjoy throwing it. It's methodical. You can just sit there and get in a groove of feeling the bottom. And, it's a different pace than throwing spinnerbait or crankbait or something like that. But, I guess on the other hand, something that is not like, I don't dislike throwing it, but if I could think back in the last like 5 years, what I probably caught the least amount of bass on, it'd have to be like a mid to like, probably like a mid diving crankbait. Like I catch them in the summertime on a deep diving crank. I catch them in the spring on a shallower crankbait, but it's like that mid range crankbait. For some reason, it's just something that I don't know if it's just that I don't throw it a lot. It seems like when the fish get in that zone where I could throw it, I'm catching them on something else. I'm throwing something else. So that's not something that I dislike. It's just interesting to think about like how few bass I've caught on like a 10-foot diving, 12-foot diving crankbait in the last 4 or 5 years.
I know I said I'd turn it over to Danny, but I got a follow-up question.
Okay.
That's all good.
Danny knew I was going to probably do that.
Yeah. He does it every week.
Yeah. You touched on it just a little bit when you said something about when everybody was throwing a minnow and you decided and you were throwing the Carolina rig and catching fish. Do you think that's happening more often? You touched on it real early in the show about them being so conditioned to seeing so many minnows. Do you think that maybe the scales, like that people are going back to the bank, going back to the Carolina rig, going back to old stuff that they kind of gave up on and went to the minnow? Do you think it's some of those are coming back?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think forward facing is going to be a tool as long as we have it that's pretty. I mean, I don't think you can necessarily ever throw something blind, and I don't know. I don't know. What am I trying to say? Like you're always going to be able to use it with something and be very, very successful. It just may not always be that jig head minnow. Like, for example, during the BPT on Gunnersville, I really, really, I really outfished Dustin Connell on that spot, like kicked his butt. And he came up to me after the first 2 days and shook my hand and goes, dude, I haven't been beat that bad in a very long time. Like, you put it on me. We were fishing the same area, catching more than double what he was catching. And I was catching a lot of my fish on a little small boot tail swim bait on a jig head, swimming a swim bait, like a little 2.8 swim bait, not a straight tail minnow. I was casting the swim bait out there, and I was just reeling it over the bottom. And I'd watch it go over the bottom, and I was what I call tracing the bottom. So, like, if the bottom dipped, I would slow down, and I would make that swim bait just trace the top of the bottom, and I was just keeping it about 2 to 3 feet above the bottom. And these fish that had seen that minnow over and over and over again, I couldn't get them to bite the minnow. I'd throw that out there, and I'd reel it over the bottom, and eventually one would be following it, and it would just come up and eat it. That's something that I don't see too many guys talk about, throwing a little single swim bait on forward facing. I haven't since it's really like gotten big. Like when it first came out, guys were throwing like a little Kitech or a little swim bait on there, catching them, but it's really been dominated by the minnow. That last summer I caught them a lot on the Carolina rig, just seeing where the majority of the fish were, then casting that bait out there and knowing, hey, there's fish right there, but not necessarily watching them eat my bait, just throwing at an area where I knew they were, fishing the bait intuitively through that area, not necessarily just watching the fish go after my bait. So I think there's going to be more and more of that, where guys utilize it just to locate maybe the fish on a piece of cover, and then implement a technique where maybe, like even the Nico rig, like Drew, he throws it out there, and sometimes the worm's sinking down and the fish comes up and eats it. But a lot of the times that worm goes down and disappears, and the fish just kind of disappears into the bottom. And then it's at that point, it's just like, all right, I better shake this bait right, and make this fish bite it. It's not like, oh, I'm watching him behind it. Boom, he eats the worm. It's like you throw at a dot, the fish goes down on the worm, and then all of a sudden it's like, intuitions kick in, and then it's like, how do I shake this worm to make that fish bite it? And Drew's obviously dominant at that, but the same could be said for other techniques too. It's like you see them, throw at them, and just your intuitions kick in, and you start working the bait the right way to make that fish bite.
Awesome. Answered it perfectly.
I don't know. I lose track of the question sometimes. But.
No, exactly what I wanted to hear. All right, Danny, your turn.
I just want to circle back to a question from the audience that we missed real quickly. I know you need to go.
No, you're fine. We can go over a little bit. It's okay.
Your favorite chatterbait setup? Okay.
Favorite chatterbait setup. So I actually had a Pro Series rod from Duckett for a while, last couple of years. It was a 7.3 medium heavy. It had a, not like super fast, but like a moderate tip on it. And I vary anywhere from like 16 to 20 pound fluorocarbon. The 20 I'm going to use if I'm fishing a little bit shallower. I'm going to try to keep my bait up more, trying to keep it above the vegetation. I may not always go from like a half to a 3/8. Sometimes I'll still throw that half with 20 in order to keep it up. But yeah, I'm throwing pretty much 16 to 20 pound fluorocarbon, 7.3 rod, Duckett rod. I haven't really found a good alternative. I know Wheeler throws I think Jake Wheeler throws his Select series. It's a 7'4" medium heavy. And I was throwing that rod this past tournament on Gunnersville for my lipless. Really liked it for that. I may start going over to that, but I'm still currently using the Pro Series that they discontinued. That 7.3 medium heavy Pro Series I've really like for that chatterbait. Maybe I'll design, I don't know. Duckett has been great with me. We've really worked on a lot of really cool stuff. I've got a glide bait that I just released with those guys, and they're very open to designing stuff with me. So maybe in the future we'll have a rod line with may not be 10 different rods, but maybe I'll focus in on like 5 or 6 different rods that I really, really like. And maybe that 7.3 medium heavy will reemerge. But for right now, that Pro Series 7.3 is really good. And then I throw a very standard reel, just like a 7-4-1, just like your mid range. I don't throw a slow one. I don't throw a super fast one. I just like that 7-4-1. I feel like I can pick up line good, and I feel like I don't overwork the bait. I feel like if it's on an 8, I'm going to have a more tendency to overwork that bait, fish it too fast. And then as far as the bait goes, I mean, jackhammer's hard to beat, 1/2 ounce, 3/8 ounce jackhammer, and with variety of different trailers.
Very cool. Okay, one more, and this is a little off the wall.
Okay.
Oh, see what you did there, off the wall.
Yeah, you're throwing it.
That was totally by habit, but I like it. Craziest thing you have seen on your sonar screen?
Ooh.
Something weird, something you couldn't explain, or maybe just something completely out of the ordinary.
Well, I mean, this isn't necessarily that crazy. Like, people probably see it pretty often, but every time I see it, it blows my mind. Those loons, the white, the loons that you see on the water that are, making those little coos and those little noises. Those dudes will go so deep to eat bait. Have you ever seen how deep those guys will go? They will go 40 or 50 feet down to eat bait.
Wow.
Like, you can see them on forward facing go all the way to and they're not doing it like slow. Like, these guys are cooking down to the bottom. Like, I don't know how their head doesn't just implode, from the pressure. But I mean, they are shooting down to the bottom. It's amazing that they can actually see down there and then find the bait and eat it and then come all the way back up to the surface. That's pretty amazing to me that those birds will go that far down in the water like that. Because I always thought, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, we never heard that, but until last week, I think Drew say the same thing?
That
was the exact same thing.
Really? He said the same thing?
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy, actually. But yeah, that is very strange to me. Gosh, what else? I mean, this was kind of funny. This last year on Conroe, I was catching a lot of fish in the first period on my active target. And I was just targeting a mix of floating fish, suspended fish, and fish that were real close to the bottom. So I was just kind of throwing at dots, as many dots as I could. It was a percentage thing. And as many as I could throw out, I'd eventually, catch the fish I needed to catch for that period. Well, I'm fishing around, and there's this little standing pole timber tree out in the middle of this creek channel on Lake Conroe. And I see this tree, and there's like a little dot sitting up near the top of the tree. And I'm like, well, there's a fish sitting on that tree. So I throw my minnow over there, and I work it over the tree, and I catch a crappie. I reel this crappie in, and I unhook it, and I put it back. I'm excited that I can finally toss one in the lake and not have to kneel down and put it down the side. And so I toss the crappie back, and I fix my bait, and I see another dot on the tree. So I throw back over to the tree, and I'm shaking my bait. And I get to the tree, and it gets heavy, and I lean into it, and I reel in a turtle in the foot. So, I mean, just silly stuff like that, I mean, turtles, those birds, tons of sunken boats. I see a lot of different sunken boats. I always wonder with the boats that you see sunk, like, did somebody sink it on purpose or, for structure, or did something happen and it go down? I've never found anything crazy. I've seen people that find trucks and stuff off boat ramps, where people will steal a vehicle and then just dump it off a boat ramp. I've never found anything like that. I've actually been at lakes when they found trucks like that during practice and whatnot, but I've never uncovered the truck. But I'd say the birds, it's just like the first thing that comes to my mind that's like, whoa, like how do they do that?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It needs to be like a scientific mystery of some sort. They need to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, before forward-facing sonar, I always thought, oh, these birds just duck down and they go down like a few feet. Like they go down like maybe 4 or 5 feet and grab some shad, and then they come back up. No, they're going to the bottom.
They need to. There is it. I've seen it one time, and it was the coolest thing. Is like the air bubbles that they expel are just incredible.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's crazy.
The otters, we see a lot of otters on Stockton in Missouri. Watching those big stupid things go around is pretty neat too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've seen a bunch of them too.
Jacob, thank you for coming on the show. You got any, what's your Danny's been posting it, but as a reminder, where can people find you if they want to follow you?
Yeah, no, it's just Jacob Wall Fishing on Instagram, like you see there, the link, and then that's kind of the same across the board. You can find that YouTube, you can find that Facebook, you can find that any social media platform that I'm on. It's going to be Jacob Wall Fishing. Yep. And yeah, no, I really appreciate it, guys. You asked some great questions. It was great catching up with you, John, and yeah, it was good to meet you guys, Danny and Kyle, and enjoyed the questions. It was fun kind of reminiscing on some stuff.
One last thing. Danny, tell him.
The next event you win, you got to come back on the show.
Okay. All right. Sounds like a plan.
You heard the story at the beginning.
Maybe Hartwell. I mean, who knows?
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, Tucker was on 3 times last year.
Yep.
Pat was on 3 times last year.
Yeah. Pat Schlopper. Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, man.
That's pretty cool.
We're slowly just building our relationship with winners, I guess, around here.
Absolutely.
That's good. That's a group I want to be a part of.
Thanks for coming on, Jacob. Appreciate it.
Watch the baby.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. She's probably.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Boy, if Moody was a YouTuber and he had an account and he could comment, like he was lighting stogies and doing all kinds of stuff when he was talking about
Carolina rig,
ball and chain. He's fired up now. I'm telling you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like nobody is allowed to talk smack on a ball and chain because that's his deal. And he's explaining that, it's just kind of cool. You get the spot lock and you get to stand side by side and just kind of BS and tink, get a bite. I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, if Moody could comment on this show, he'd be fired up.
If he wasn't watching, he needs to watch. Guys, I'm going to get off because they have closed the show.
You got to get out of the building.
And I got to leave. So I did want to say one thing, though, because we forgot our verse the last couple times. And this isn't really a verse, but it was in my devotional today. Today, I think. And there's just this one little piece in the devotional that says this. For an organism to survive, the rate of learning must be equal to or greater than the rate of change happening around them.
Wow.
So I'm thinking, all this forward-facing sonar, if you're going to survive in this business, you've got to learn equal to or greater than how all this technology is changing. How about that for a devotional?
And that's a fact, Jack.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Not even going to try to top that.
Crazy. Crazy truth. That's truth. Which is why I will not survive as a fisherman in the business. I may get lucky a couple times, but I'm not going to make a living or survive doing it.
Oh, my. Well, get out of there, Don, before they lock you.
Yep, I got to go. Later, guys.
Later.
And then it was 2.
Kiki, what do you think?
I don't know. I don't think a whole lot because it hurts.
Oh, good night.
And especially after 5 o'clock, I don't get paid to think. Uh-oh. And then it was 1. This gets scary real quick. This gets real scary, especially when I talk to myself, and you guys don't want that. Well, that's better.
I don't know why. I don't know what the deal is, but for whatever reason, John coming and going boots me out.
Huh.
It's kind of weird. Kind of
Like
crazy.
he's the admin of the show or something. We just need Crank back, and then your stress level goes from 100 to 0.
I don't know about 0. I mean, I'm too much of an overthinker to be at 0, but yeah, it goes down.
Yeah. But he's doing the kid thing. He's taking care of business. I like it. And his basketball practice time is later in the evening than mine is. And our basketball season is coming to an end Saturday, so my Tuesdays will be a lot more boring now. But
his has got to be close too.
I would say so. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And that may be why tonight was a late practice, because normally it's like 5 o'clock.
Yeah. I would tell you, I did learn something, not fishing related, but hey, you know what? It's our show and we can talk about anything we want, kind of deal.
That's right.
Tuesday evening, Max's practice comes to an end. They practice for an hour, you know, and generally the girls, they take over the gymnasium directly after their practice is over with, right? There wasn't a girls' practice after Max's practice was over. And there was 3 boys that were kind of standing around, and one of them was Max, and the other 2 were actually just waiting on parents to come pick them up. And so I get under the basket and I start rebounding for these boys, and pretty soon they decide they want to challenge me to a little 3-on-1 kind of deal. When you're 37 years old and you haven't played basketball in a long time, just maybe a game of horse or something in the driveway, and you're actually dribbling and changing positions quickly, and probably be a good idea to warm up. I don't know. But, man, the next day getting out of bed, I was like, I've got to do something physically because this is not good. My calf muscles were tight. My arms, my shoulders were kind of bothering me for a few hours. I got to get off my rear and do something because the shape that I'm in is the worst that I've been in 5 years. It just took a couple of boys wanting to play basketball for 15 minutes to prove it, you know?
Well, do it now, because it's easier to do it when you're 37 than when you're 55.
Man, my calf muscles the next morning, I'm telling you, was knotted up now.
I believe it.
And the cardio, the amount of cardio that, well, just the heavy gasps of air that I was taking after the fact, I was like, am I really this out of shape? I mean, it's pathetic. But, it's something that I never really thought about a whole lot, because, you know, I get by everyday life pretty easily, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I do a lot of physical things, and I do them, but you do them at your own pace. You know what I'm saying? You're not rushing through anything anymore. For some reason or another, I've figured out, I'm like, I have slowed down some, and over the course of probably 4 or 5 years, a perfect example is, you know, we moved into this house, and I've literally just created different areas to sit at in the backyard.
Yeah.
We've gotten rid of the treadmill. I mean, I'm just like, I don't know if I like it. So looking forward to the challenge. Max has decided that Dad's out of shape and that he is going to ride his bicycle, and by God, you're going to keep up. So,
I don't know. I bet you can outwalk him.
the one thing I did, it's kind of a joke, but I told Emily, I said, I was asking her, hey, you know, when you guys walk in the summertime, where you usually go, you know, blah, blah. So she was telling me, and I'm like, I don't think I can walk down that road. Why is that? And I said, because if the wrong person sees me, they're going to be pulling over and ask if I need a ride or if something's wrong.
Yeah.
What are you doing walking down the street? Is something wrong? What's happened?
That's that would be the same way with us. That's why we go somewhere to walk.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I have about 2.5 miles from my house is a 7-mile trail.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And it's a bike path, walking path, jogging path thing. We do that when the weather's nice, and when it's not, we can walk in the sports arena or at the old mall. Walk down to the school and walk around the track.
Yeah, I've thought about that. It's not too far from where I live, and that's definitely a doable thing, you know. And there's no dogs that I would actually have to take off on a dead sprint to get away from at the track. Because who knows, I'd pull a hammy trying to do that. But anyways, you know, enough about exercise. That's wearing me out even talking about it. But
just, you know, you pull a hammy, you just can of corn and a Diet Coke, man. You know, just like on the longest yard.
So what else is going on in my neck of the woods? I got a bass club meeting this weekend.
Cool.
Finally got one nailed down. You know, we have it at the local bar and grill there in Cherryville. It's a good time. And I look forward to it. I don't necessarily look forward to the business side of it, or, you know, staying with the agenda. But what I do look forward to is getting rid of some cabin fever. And just getting to see the guys that you haven't seen in a while, telling fishing stories and being a bass club, you know, definitely something that I miss. So every February is when I try to hold ours. And, you know, I look forward to it.
Good times.
Tournament director, he called me last night. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it or not. He's dealing with some physical trouble right now. He's got the shingles, and said he's in some pretty bad pain and stuff. So hopefully he gets better. But yeah, it's you know, the Super Bowl's over, so you know, it's time to start fishing. It's the way I see it.
Or at least fantasy fishing.
Which I completely bombed. I mean, I'm thinking there's no chance.
Oh, it's a long season.
You're still up there. You still got.
I dropped them. Granted, it's the first day.
Yeah. And honestly, the guys that I have picked that are in the 70s right now, one of the guys that Jeff Gustafson is in 12th. I think he's my best guy right now. There's only 2 pounds that separate them. Literally like 65 or 70 places, only 2 pounds separate. It's incredible. The margin of error in this tournament is nothing. I didn't see 15 pounds was going to lead this tournament. I didn't think that was going to happen. From the footage that I watched earlier today, you know, a 3-pounder is a good one. which I think that's it's a good tournament to see. Lots of fish catches, but you're doing a lot better than I am. Maybe you got like an inside. Did you pick Will Davis?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of his jacket that he was wearing today?
I loved it.
Wasn't that awesome?
I can see his dad wearing it too.
Was that did you actually look it up? It had a brand or something on it, didn't it?
That was his dad's bait company. That was a spinner bait that he had about, Lord, 20 years ago.
Oh, so it was like a throwback jacket kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, one of his dad's old jackets.
Dang it. I was kind of hoping, because I was thinking, like, I kind of like it.
His dad was a trip. When the BNC was at Grand,
Yeah.
I stayed at John's, and the Kansas guys stayed at John's too, but so did Will Davis and his dad. And every evening, sitting on the patio with Will and his dad. His dad's awesome.
Yeah.
Just a super cool guy.
And and he's been a bait maker for how long?
Oh gosh. Davis Bait Company's probably 30 over 30 years.
Is that all he's done for a living? Is do that, or
I think once he got established with the bait company, yeah.
That's cool.
He told one night we were talking and he told me what he used to do. And I don't remember exactly what it was. It may have been like lumber mill or paper mill or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is pretty common down there, but
yeah, for sure.
Very cool people. Very down to earth.
Yeah. It's one of the things I noticed about Alabama when I was there for that week a few years back was just the way people treat you when you go into a convenience store or wherever. It's just a lot different than even what we're used to here, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Well, I was hoping that Crank would show back up so we could pick on him for a little bit.
Don't look like that's going to happen. I tell you what, man, I got a boat in the driveway. No, I'm sorry. A boat in the shop. I got mine. I've been thinking about kicking it out in the driveway and creating a little bit more space in here, but I got one in the shop and I got one it's fixing to be dropped off in the next week or so. So people around here are thinking about getting outside too,
When it's 65 degrees and no wind, it's hard.
What was it? Was it 70 when was it 70? It was that Monday or something? Or Sunday? Anyways. Did you have any mosquitoes?
No, no mosquitoes yet.
We did.
But did you really?
Yes. I don't know how, but I was just like, are you kidding me? Where do they come from?
Do you keep water in your pool?
It does, yeah, naturally. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I figured you just pulled it down below the skimmer.
Yeah, and then we put the big cover over it, and then as it snows and rains and blah blah, yeah, it collects and it's got probably 7-8 inches of water on top, almost enough to test lures on the top of the cover now. Finally,
might have been some hatch from that.
Could be. I don't know. It's just like, man, it just literally thawed the ice out, and now you're already back.
And long range forecast, I'm talking like to April. It's not showing any snow here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
And lots of 70s.
you know, I think from what I could tell, there was still some sort of a system going to move through the end of February, kind of like it always does,
Mm-hmm.
But really after that, just kind of a normal spring, hopefully. So,
What are you fishing this year, Mr. Kister? Besides the club?
Gonna kick the season off with Nichols on Grand. I think that's the second weekend in March. And then Future Bass Trail on Grand. It's another team trail. And I really look forward to those, probably more so than I do the Nichols. They're just the way they have it all set up. The launch from anywhere. You have a start time, but you can't leave the boat ramp that you put in at until your start time. And then, obviously you have a stop fishing time, and then you have to be at the weigh-in site before 4:00, I think is what it is. It's just laid back.
Mm-hmm.
There's still 80 or 90 guys, 80 or 90 teams that fish it. The entry fee is still, kind of pricey. The competition is definitely still there. I mean, it's Grand Lake, but it's the best tournament on Grand, in my opinion. I wished I'd have been fishing it sooner. But anyways, so yeah, Nichols, Future Bass, some ABAs, Cherryville Bass Club when I can find the time, which doesn't look like it's going to be too big a deal. And like Jacob was talking about earlier, I mean, there's only so many weekends per month.
Yes.
And I thought about what he was, John and him were talking about, and it's 100% true. And a lot of things changed for me 7.5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
Definitely for the better, no doubt. Definitely. But I slowed down. And the weekends when I used to just be like, hey, honey, peace.
I'll be back Sunday evening.
Yeah, you just have to pick and choose, and that's really all there is. Just a little bit of give and a little bit of take, Things have definitely gotten a little bit easier. I can put myself in his shoes back in my memory extremely easily because the whole 2-week, 3-week-old newborn, I was still in full-on panic mode. I was definitely not as easygoing as him. And between me and her, we didn't know what we were even doing. I had no clue. I thought at one point I was going to have to sell it all just to afford diapers. We didn't know what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to be parents, and we didn't know what stuff was going to cost, and everything that you worry about when you have a newborn, hospital bills, different stuff. It all worked out. But yeah.
Then you have the second one, and it's like,
Pretty much. Yeah, because you kind of halfway know what to expect, and things do get easier. Thankful that I had a girl, for sure. Because hopefully in the near future, those weekends that on a Saturday or Friday night, even, we can both say peace out and then just ride off into the sunset on a Friday evening, and may come back late Sunday afternoon if we so choose. Me and Max, that is. That is the number one goal now, for sure. And we're not going to feel bad for leaving her at home by herself. She will have Julia to keep her company. See, so it worked out. It worked out. Yeah, look forward to that for sure. Been kind of looking at those. A guy that fishes ABA, he comes from out west, Wichita, Andover area. Really cool dude. Usually sleeps at the boat ramp. So he'll get there on a Friday, fish practice, blah, blah, blah. And then he sleeps at the boat ramp. Pulled up to the ramp last year, the year before, and he's got a little suitcase generator. And it was like a pop-up tent that went in the back of his truck.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like taller than the cab, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's not real flimsy. It doesn't look like the wind's going to blow it over. And I was like, man, that is cool. I can't think of the name of it. And I haven't done any research, but I'm like, I could do that. I could definitely do that. And he, like I said, little suitcase generator, little portable air conditioner.
Nice.
Yes. And it was quiet, he come crawling out of there. He looked like he was refreshed. I mean, he's ready to go fishing. He didn't look tired. You know what I'm saying? So I think he got a good night's sleep. I think I could do that. Yeah. Not to get, I don't want to get attacked by a pack of coons or anything like that, but I think it would be a good time.
Or a Sasquatch.
Yeah, or Sasquatch, or Turkzilla. There's one of those. There's an eastern turkey run around Montgomery County that it's still alive. Probably, I don't know how it didn't die, but Turkzilla. That story is true. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Got two other guys as a witness.
Turkzilla.
But that's for another day.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even. I'm gonna have nightmares now. Hey, do you ever look at any of the videos I send you on TikTok?
I don't even know how to get into TikTok hardly. I downloaded the app.
Oh. I send you videos like every day.
Oh, wow.
For a year or more.
Huh.
Okay.
I guess maybe I should.
Did you see the reel with Pat Schlopper that I sent to the chat yesterday?
Yes.
The snack one.
Yes, that was
for you guys at home. If you didn't see it, go find Pat Schlopper on Instagram or on Facebook. You got to see this video. It's Pat's, what is it? Boat snack review or something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And like the confusing part was, so it was like one of his sponsors is who sent him all the snacks.
Yeah.
The confusing part to me was like all the Japanese or Chinese handwriting or printing on the labels.
I think that's why they sent it to him.
Is because they got it. Oh, it was.
I think so. I think
Well,
that,
it was a heck of a joke because, my gosh, the amount of snacks that he got was incredible. I was like, does he really eat that much when he's in the boat? I don't know how he doesn't have any time. I don't know how he has any time to fish. I mean, this the amount of snacks that he's supposedly going to review them all.
good stuff from Pat Schlapper.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we should do. We should have a snack review, or maybe a beer review when it gets summertime.
Why do you have to wait?
Well, maybe your Busch Light Lime will be back.
Oh boy. Yeah. Not anything wrong with it.
Good and good for you.
Don't sleep on it until you try it.
Okay, let's get out of here.
Sounds good to me.
Guys, thanks for watching. Those of you that are still with us, really enjoyed visiting with Jacob Wall. That was quite a surprise this evening. Is next week when Eric's joining us?
Yes. Looking forward
Eric
to it.
Stong is joining us next week.
One of
That's
them old,
fun.
it's kind of strange to call him this, but one of them old Florida guys now.
He's been in Florida longer than I knew him here. So I guess. Anyway,
I am really, really looking forward to that.
be a
So
fun
much.
time.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching, guys. As always, like and subscribe and share with your friends and tell them to like and subscribe and like and
It
all
would be nice to break.
and stuff.
Maybe this number's wrong, but it would be nice to break 150 subscribers by June.
Oh, no problem. We're tracking right along. We'll be millionaires by the time you're 100.
Well, got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything, Danny.
That's right. Next week, guys.